Welcome to a very simple yoga practice. It's designed with you in mind to get to know your body a little bit better. Maybe you're interested in understanding the anatomy and function of your form. Maybe you're just looking for practice to help you get into your body. Either way, this is for you. Begin on your back. The nice thing about starting a yoga practice on your back is that the spine is neutral. It has a reference point in the floor. The earth is giving it a sense of this is where home is. With the knees bent, you're reducing some of the tension in the low back. A muscle that runs from the upper inner thigh to just kind of where the low back and the ribs meet is relaxed because of the hip flexion. This is psoas major and minor. They're attached to a muscle that lines the inner side of the pelvis called iliacus. Together they make up the iliopsoas. Now, all good yoga really begins with the breath. Bring your left hand to your chest and your right hand to your belly. And just tune into what's happening in your breath right now. You can hug the knees into the chest, interlace the fingers, and just create a gentle rocking. Trying to create a little bit of embrace of the self and to feel that sense of release in the low back. You can gently rock from side to side. Tuck your chin and just lengthen the back of your neck. Notice how that affects the low back. Release the left leg and interlace the fingers around the right shin. Keep the toes drawing back towards the shin. And see if you can walk the thigh bone up and around. It's as if you're taking the knee out to the right side and then back in towards the midline. Left leg is straight, toes draw back towards the shin, just with a gentle engagement, and see if you can notice the dynamic between the left leg and the right leg. Left leg straight, right knee bent and hugging into the abdomen. On the right side of your abdomen, you have the ascending colon. With the leg just hugging in towards the midline. Each breath massages your abdomen, creating just a little bit of encouragement towards your digestive process. Release the right leg straight. The bottom of the foot is aimed towards the ceiling, and the fingers are interlaced behind the thigh. Under your hands here, you have the hamstrings. The semimembranosus is on the inside. The semitendinosus is the middle one, and the biceps femoris is on the outside. So when you internally rotate, well, let's begin by drawing the toes again back towards the shin, and you'll notice that takes up more tone in the hamstrings. That's connecting the sit bones all the way up past the knee. Internally rotate the legs. That's turning the toes of your foot towards the midline. It's going to accentuate the stretch through sort of the outer hamstring. And you can feel a little bit more activity as you engage the leg straight. See if you can keep the arms straight as you charge the thigh into and through the arms to the shoulders. Shoulders are away from the arms. Externally rotate the toes. That's turning the toes to point out into the side of your mat. And you'll feel an exchange of stretch through your hamstrings. More focused on the inside. Release and cross the foot at the upper thigh bone. Keep the toes drawing back towards the shin. This activity in the calf is going to protect your right knee joint. If you're comfortable here and you'd like a bit more of a stretch, you can interlace the fingers behind the left thigh. sort of in that space between the knees. A gentle rocking can help ease some of this tension in the low back and hips and allow you to find a little bit more space. Try and keep the right toes active, the left toes active. This is a concept called muscle recruiting, that we really just want to engage the whole of the system as much as we can. You're looking for the stretch in the outer right hip. Try and keep the length of the back along the earth, and chin tucked. Swap the legs just by straightening the right leg. Interlace the fingers around the left shin. Peel the knee out and around the waist and see if you can hug it in towards the midline. Just like on the other side, the breath is active and you've got an engagement through the abdomen into the inner thigh. This is your descending colon, sort of last stop in the process of elimination, as the food that nourishes you is leaving your body. Really tune into your breath here. See if you can relax your jaw. Feet are active, toes drawing back towards the shin. This is called dorsiflexion. Just observe that space in between the inner thigh. And really pay attention to it as you straighten the left leg. Interlace your fingers in a place that's comfortable. It can be interesting to swap the grip. Usually your most comfortable finger goes on top. Internally rotate the left leg. Toes are pointing towards the midline. We're looking for an engagement through the back thigh. So the hamstrings. Feel the sit bones engage as it draws the knee kind of towards the wall at the base of your feet. That activity is going to use the arms like a guy wire to draw your shoulders down away from your ears. It can be helpful to tuck your chin again, keep your tongue soft, stay with your breath. Just exploring, externally rotating the left leg and noticing again the difference between the three hamstrings. Membranosus, tendinosus, biceps femoris. Bi means two and seps is Latin for head. So the biceps is really a two-headed hamstring muscle. For those people who have tight groins, you'll appreciate that there is, in some anatomical considerations, a fourth hamstring, and that's the adductor magnus, which is a big muscle in the inner thigh that helps draw energy in towards the midline, especially when we're standing on both feet. You can use it here, charging the leg straight. We'll relax that. Turn the left leg into a figure four by crossing that left ankle joint across just above the knee of the right leg, and see if you can find, again, a little bit of that stretch in the outer left hip. The right foot is planted on the floor to provide a base, and if you'd like to go deeper, you can bind behind the thigh. Active through both ankles. That's going to protect your knee joints, which really you want to do that. It's just the kind of thing that as we age, the knees start to really become powerful in our dance with gravity. So the more that you can keep them aligned, protected, the discs in between them, the very precious ligaments in between. Here's a great example, actually, with the leg straight. All of the ligaments inside of the knee are at their kind of highest tone. Once you put them into a bend, it allows them to relax. And so by, again, engaging these toes towards the shin, we're protecting our knees just through activating the muscles so that the joint is aware of itself in space. Gentle rocking, just looking for that space in the low back, outer hip, deeply, intimately connected there. Following your breath. Release the bind. just give yourself a bit of if it feels okay in your low back, alternating your legs, almost as if you're pressing out on a Stairmaster. From here, knees at 90, hip width apart, lift your pelvis up towards the sky. Keep your elbows rooted into the ground, and again, active through the fingertips. That's going to use that muscle recruiting to engage the upper core of the body. The nervous system is going to get signaled that we want to protect our form. As much as you can, see if you can lift through the pubic bone towards the ceiling. The chin is tucked, the shoulders are down away from the ears, and there's lots of space for your breath to pass through the throat. So feel free to really engage with your breath. Relax yourself down. And then we're going to move into a dynamic bridge. Same sort of activity, we're just moving the arms as if they're a pump for the lungs and the diaphragm. So as you inhale, the diaphragm goes down, but the arms go up, the hips rise. Exhale, release the arms down towards the hips, in line with the body. Try this at a 4-4 count. Inhale to exhale. Just move with your breath. Just notice any resistance or lack of fluidity in the body. And roll ourselves up. Draw the heels together in towards the pubic bone. Place your hands on the back side, on the mat side of the feet. And this is where that adductor magnus, that fourth hamstring, can come in. So actively, the muscles that we were just stretching in the figure 4 position, use them to pull the knees towards the earth. See if you can relax the inner thigh, groin, and move just by pivoting the body into a low lunge position. Left leg forward, right leg back. Left knee is above the ankle, about 90 degrees, and the right hip and right knee are in line. If you look back, the right toes are tucked, and you just want to engage through those back toes by pressing into the earth. Arms up towards the sky. Wrap your left hand around your right wrist and inhale and lengthen up. As you exhale, I want you to externally rotate your right arm by using your left hand. Use your left hand to rotate down through the right shoulder. See if you can find that stretch all the way through the right side, down into the knee. Forward fold over your thigh. Draw the toes towards the shin and just lead with your heart. As much as you can, just lengthening the heart forward towards the top of the mat. Back toes are still tucked. Your front toes are pointing up towards the sky. And again, play with rotating the toes to point to the left and to point to the right, as if they were the face of a clock. And the hour hand is just moving. Walk in towards the midline and swap the top of the mat. So your right hand comes to the earth behind where you were, underneath the shoulder, and with the left side of the body from the outer edge of the foot, like the blade of a shovel going into the ground, all the way out through the outer thigh, hip, in through the ribs, you're going to stretch the left arm long in line with that body. Come back to center. Place both the knees on the ground facing the side of your mat, and we're going to externally rotate the arms. So your thumb should be pointing to the lateral side of the mat, the top and the bottom. So from here, take your gaze up towards the ceiling. and then back towards your navel. As if you were rolling over the arch of a barrel and back. Follow your breath. Inhale, gazes up. That's going to protect your low back. As you exhale, as if you were rolling over a barrel. Really feel the low back engage. Inhale, lengthen your heart forward. See if you can externally broaden your collarbones. We'll turn the front side into the back side of the mat. Bring your right leg forward. Left toes are tucked underneath. Your right knee is above the ankle. And the hips are in line with the knees. Left arm goes up and over. Right hand wraps around the wrist. Externally rotate the left arm. And on an inhale, we'll lengthen up and over. Just following that stretch from the left hand, opening the palm to the side body, all the way down through the left side of the waist, the diaphragm, into the knee. Stay soft in the jaw, soft in the tongue. Again, the dynamic between the inner thighs. So you can hug the right heel back towards the left knee while you're lengthening through the side waist. Follow your breath. Each exhale is an opportunity to go just a little bit further into the practice. We'll release and fold forward over the front leg. Again, internally and externally rotating the leg, the front side of the body, just to explore the hamstrings. Gather your information. When you're released, you can pivot on that back knee and create that length through the right side of the body. A long line of energy from the outer right foot through the left pinky hand. Forgive me, the right pinky hand. Follow your breath, create space. Gazes up towards the ceiling under the armpit, if that's a safe position for your neck. And release both hands to the earth. You can see in a different position here the external rotation through the forearms, how the index knuckles are rooted in the earth, following the spine as it undulates. Exhale, abdomen towards the navel and back body. Inhale, heart forward and through the inner thigh, arms. Just keep moving like that. Find a safe pace and space for each of the vertebrae to find a way to come together and to disassociate. It's very healthy for joints to be able to come together and move apart. It's actually a really defining characteristic of their health. So, just a simple practice here. For the most part, we've been focusing on the diaphragm. So, in this position, Makrasana, we'll be lying with our abdomen intimate on the earth. As much as this is comfortable for you, bring the inner ankles to touch the ground. That's externally rotating both legs. And you can feel that in the low back. The elbows are going to come underneath the shoulders, and that's going to allow us to lift the breast tissue off the earth and really put the emphasis on the diaphragm as it moves. Head is heavy, and the focus is on the breath. Inhale and exhale. And start to explore the breath as a 1-to-1 ratio. So a 4-count inhale and a 4-count exhale. And gradually lengthening, expanding those breaths. So a 5-to-5 ratio, a 6-to-6 ratio. As You progress with this very naturally, it will happen on its own accord. So you can also just be here and rest. Watch the diaphragm as it rises and falls, just observing its very natural ebb and flow. If you've ever watched a baby breathing in its crib, her abdomen just rising and falling like the ocean tide, shoreline in the sea. That's the diaphragm in this position, just ebbing, flowing. And you can feel behind this breath, in this position, gradually the body is moving towards a greater space of relaxation, a more parasympathetic response, which is very much a rest and digest. And come out of, we'll just lift the head, kind of shimmy your feet in towards the midline. Hands underneath the chest. Press yourself back to child's pose. See if you can lengthen out again that deep back line. The erectors just soft and long, creating space for the lateral body, the back body. And here, resting in reverence for our practice. All our ancestors are with us. And we will press our hands back and up. Move gently as you ease back into your day. Taking some time for yourself to move with an intentional sort of stoking of your inner fire each breath, that metabolic percolation and ignition, if you will. Each breath bringing fresh blood in every moment present. Many blessings. I trust this finds you well. Kind yourself into others.